everyone, and welcome back to Game 2 of the Grand Finals. We're watching Team SoloMid up against TeamQ in Round 1. TeamQ gets a victory here, and they're going to go ahead and run on through. They're going to be grabbing this up here. Looks like they're running through. The pause does come out. Sorting this one through. Let's cover who's playing what and where. They're going for what team. Team SoloMid comes on down. Youngbei on Apollo. Trixtank playing Geb. Kivo Fred playing Guan Yu in the jungle. Lobster on Zeus, the god of the skies. Game Hunter taking chalk in the solo lane. They're looking for blood, but Poe is going to spot him out and just relay that information.
All right, so we're going to have the red team. This is the top side of the map. And what's interesting here is this is not Cloud9 HyperX. And for the first time in these tournaments, we are not going to see Cloud9 in finals. They were defeated by TeamQ. This is going to be your red team. They won game 1 against TSM, and they're looking to take it home. Proxy QQ in the jungle right now as Bastet laying down the Razor Claws. Poeing going to be playing Ymir. We're going to have NQ in the solo lane playing Tier again. Real ZX is going to have himself an on her over in the duo, and then Captain Twig steals away Agni. Is going to bring him to the mid lane.
Big rotation attempt from TSM at the start of this match. Nothing to gain from it, though, as Poeing takes a great route to spot it out. Nothing really too aggressive here. No invades. Nothing really too high-strung. And, I feel like TSM has been given an ounce of modesty here. Look at Poeing walking over with that very ever-present harassment on the blue. Just looks at him, doesn't commit, just knows that everyone knows he's there, and now the shots are actually turning to him instead of the blue, buying time. All the while Trixtank getting hit by a very angry ogre with a very sharp tomahawk there, forced away. Trixtank still taking Realzy on its way over. Hand the gods is available. There it goes the blue buff, taking a little bit of harassment. Honestly, Poeing took more than Trixtank, so that was a bit of a win for TSM considering the fact that TeamQ didn't get their blue.
Proxy's taking so much Darrens. Right there we saw the Thunderstrike Torrent combo. Luckily for Proxy, he has that speed buff, because if he didn't have that, he would have been done for. Did you see the damage that Cubo just put down there? He did Warrior's Will 1 auto attack, and it was like 30%. And Bastet's going to be forced very early back to the base, but this could be beneficial for NQ, as he's going to get that solo experience, whereas we see Game Hunter splitting it up with Cubo Fred.
It's interesting to see the nerf for Guan Yu. Of course, Talasalt used to lower 30 protections, now lowers 21 fully stacked up, but still does a lot of damage there. And honestly, it was plenty to be able to burst down Proxy on Bastet. Luckily enough for Proxy, he didn't fall down there. They didn't have the distance or the mobility they needed to catch up with that Bastet movement speed, and just couldn't get the kill there for first blood. So we're still saying 0-0 right now. Looking at the charts, we're going to see a slight golden experience lead for TSM. Into the wall, Trixtank has roll out, rolls in the backside, no initiation. Honor takes the opportunity to use Impale on the whole wave over here. The shield comes out, Frost Breath, Glacial Strike, Impale is on cooldown. Keep that in mind. Trixtank, the shot after the shot coming through. Realzy disperse over the shockwave. A few more shots will take it out. Realzy taking a from Youngbei though. Youngbei gets first blood on her, turning his sights to Poeing as Trixtank just bowling balls around in celebration and comes right back to his buddy Youngbei.
I love it. He's like, hey, we got first blood. I think I'll run a lap.
Victory lap!
Yeah, I'm Geb. Running into the jungle now. Poeing's getting pressured. Trixtank's gonna cut off the path. He's like, maybe second blood. I'll run another lap. And now he's coming back around, but Poeing's gonna be able to get away from that one. But I love this rotations. Now, mid camps, Lobster and Proxy both gonna have opportunities, and we've talked about this. There's not really a good way to fight against that detonate. I mean, he has the chain lightning. He activates a few stacks there onto Mr. Proxy. But early game, we're seeing a small lead happen to TSM, 560 gold.
A decent lead here so far. TSM pulling ahead. Previously had a little bit of lead as well, so that's going to add more to it. And of course, again, we see for the second game in a row, First Blood does end up going to the Hunter. In fact, I think it's third game in a row, First Blood goes to the Hunter here. So surprisingly enough, things are going to change for the better for TSM to start out. And previously, TeamQ went 2-0 against TSM in the beginning, and honestly started with about a 1,500 gold lead and held onto it for about 12 minutes. So starting off early, the early lead to TSM means that TeamQ is going to have to work that much harder to keep up. Cubo now hitting level 5 in the jungle, has that cavalry charge available if he wants to initiate. Right side Game Hunter throwing out the Thunderstrike. Rain Dance was used. There goes the Fearless from NQ. Does not hit home though, and so the Solo Lane Island continues.
That was very, very close. Oh my god, if he would have got that Fearless, Game Hunter would have been forced to use his ultimate in response to lose up the kill, and then at the same time that would have been more pressure coming out from NQ. NQ with that blue buff is able to sustain through most of this, and now moving up he's going to have a bit of an issue as he doesn't have a way to get to those archers.
Left side, Trickstick goes to the rollout. Poeng sees it, pauses for a second, throws up a wall, and stares at him while he rolls into the wall, and then has to retreat. Poeng with a very casual but very precise reaction to the initiation coming out from the Geb. Roll into the wall again, charging up that movement speed. CC immediately has been activated. The wall does not land this time, clearing out the wave and going right back into the jungle. Trickstick's just playing his own game.
I think this is like NASCAR Simulator 2014. My man's just rolling around. He's waiting for that checkered flag, and now he's looking behind him. Right, or rather, left side mid camp's going to be taken by TSM. Right side mid camp might get contested here. Both sides might get contested, but Poeng's going to be deterred. Right side looks like they're doing a lot of damage to Cubo. No way inside of that one. Captain Twig will hit level 7 to match up against Lobster. Still, only one kill so far, 4 minutes and 30 seconds. Of course, that's going to be from that left lane, still in favor of Team SoloMid.
Guan Yu in a frisky place here, looking for a steal on the movement speed buff. Actually forces the leash. The vision was there from NQ, spotting that out and relaying that information to Proxy, letting him know that he's got enemies on the way. Leash the movement speed buff and has to start it up again. Razor Claw's coming through here, going to take a lot of harassment and slow down his jungle clear as well. Right side, Game Hunter on chalk up against NQ on tier. A lot of aggression coming through here. Looks like Rollout's going to go right by. He's this #1 tumbleweed Trickstick. Just rolls in the mid lane, doesn't even turn. Captain Twig's vision just sees this rock roll on by and disappear into the jungle as he's just looking for as many opportunities as possible. Honestly, it's more effective than we make it seem, as because he's throwing so much presence at the enemy team, he's showing a lot of presence there. It's able to, put some harassment in. Right side, NQ is going to try to steal the blue buff. It looks like he actually got it. Chalk comes around. There's the rollout. Tier up in the air, avoids it with the Lawbringer. Slow coming off the Warriors Will. There's the Tower Assault doing damage. Thunderstrike on the ground. There's the Torrent. Not a whole lot of mana. Actually, the Shockwave hits on the end there. There's Conviction. One Cataclysm burst. Can they get a Cubo? Forces himself forward and gets hit. NQ gets a kill after being chased down by 3 players. Lobsters here. Can he get the damage output? Actually, honestly, he could have just ulted NQ in that situation. Wasn't really paying attention to that, and they're going to walk away with a kill on Team Q.
I am blown away by that. He turns around. It's 2 people in the Fearless, and they're about to go into the tower. Trickstank with the lightning quick reaction to Cataclysm, stunning him in place. Unbelievable pressure. But then, out of nowhere, here comes Proxy. Proxy's able to do enough damage, and a lot of damage, to pick up a kill there. Cubo Fred's going to go down again. 6 minutes. We're going to see a 1-for-1 here, and ultimately... not too much else. Captain Twig almost goes down to the mid lane. Lobster trying to find it with the Lightning Storm, but he doesn't manage to catch it. Still, only about 200 gold separates these teams in favor of TSM, but there's also a 500 experience difference in favor of Team Q, so we're seeing a very even game.
Rollout comes, completely misses there. Amir ultimate. There goes the burst of Digimir's ultimate. So awesome to see that go. Double Frost Breath. Shockwave not going to land. Good wall defensively. Poeng just walking away from a 3-man engage in the jungle. Unscathed here, but of course does not end up falling. Mystical Mark II on NQ. Crossaway Game Hunter has already finished his off, even though NQ is in the lead. Goes for tier 2 Blink. Game Hunter, of course, skipping his actives tier. Just wants that Blink initiation to follow up with the Assault Stance Fearless. We do have Heartseeker 3 on Youngbay, now Aussie 2 as he goes back to the base and purchases his items, making his way back to the left side long lane. We have a bit of a flip from what we saw last game. 3,900 gold there on Real Z on her, but Youngbay playing Apollo is the second most farmed in the whole game. It seems like Apollo is a character that just gets the gold and just stays safe and farms up enough to stay alive, and of course with that ultimate he's able to position himself whenever he is needed. So it seems like Youngbay is hitting home in this game and really kind of making amends for how poorly he was shut down in the last game.
Mid lane, there's a strange rotation coming out. We're going to see Poeng go in. You see Real ZX waiting as well, but there's still a bit of time before we're going to see any mid camps. 2 stacks going to go into a Poeng, and there's the cavalry charge. I guess they're going to go in on this one. Poeng's going to be forced into a really bad spot as he gets sent back the wrong way. I'm sure Geb's not happy about that one. He will go down here, but there's great counter initiation possibility. Proxy's going to trade 1-for-1 in a situation I'm sure he's not too happy about. TSM screaming worth on that one. A strange but accurate 2-for-1 engagement.
Apollo gets a double kill, dunking down, so now that secures his spot as easily the most farmed in this game right now at 5,078 gold total. He dunks down, gets the kill, and then follows up with a kill on Bastet. So 2-0 when he lands down, now 3-0 total after that kill that he got prior. So Youngbei in a great spot to be strong in the mid game as things start to transition 3-2. We do have a pause coming out from TeamQ. Just going to check and see if they're able to figure out what's going on here. Looks like it was a very, very quick pause. Oh, okay, so I guess it's still going here. So we do have a bit of a pause coming out here from TeamQ. Whether or not they solve that up here, we're going to see pretty shortly here. Sprint 1 on her versus the no actives. No sprint there on Youngbei, but it does have Pure 1 purification beads. We've got the Sprint 2 there on Lobster, so that's really important too, avoiding the Bastet ultimate. That interaction is really something that a lot of people lean on when they're up against Bastet.
So what we're going to do is we're going to try to fast forward through this pause, guys. It should only last about 2 minutes in game time, so we'll try to speed through that for you to ensure we can get out of here as fast as possible. The game has queued up here. ProxQQ has paused it. I don't exactly know what the issue is, but I know it should be back up in just a minute. 3-2 right now after that engagement. TeamQ is slightly behind. The goal difference kind of in the favor of TSM, but then we look at the experience difference, Drybear, and it's 726 in favor of TeamQ. So maybe even with that kill, it's not in favor of TSM. But then you look at Youngbei, who's level 10 right now, same as RealZX, but he has 5,100 gold. That's huge. It's massive.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same thing that we saw last match. I mean, we saw, Youngbei fall behind, and then across the way, RealZ playing Apollo skyrocketed forward. So it seems like Apollo is something that is incredibly powerful, and we know that in NA. Apollo is very highly favored for his ability to move around. In fact, he's the second most picked god in NA overall. Doesn't get to see it many bans, but definitely gets picked a lot. The highest hunter by far. So versus EU, first place is on her.
You don't have Aphrodite mastered?
I don't.
What?
I have 0 mastery on her.
No, you've
haven't
never
played
played
her.
her?
No, I have. I have 2 videos on YouTube about her, but I haven't played her since Mastery came out. And that's why she's the god I haven't mastered, because I think that's hilarious that it's 0.
Lower your Drybears. Lower them all.
Whoa!
Lower them all!
Whoa! That's excessive. That is excessive, my friend. Slow your roll. Today's Sunday.
What?
You know what that means?
What is what, Super Bowl?
Hold on.
Okay.
The Super Bowl is today. I want to know.
Okay, I'm ready.
What is your perfect Super Bowl party?
Well, all right. So we have a tradition. The Juice Boys come over, and we watch like the first 2 minutes, and then we play Marvel until halftime, and then we watch halftime. And then we play Marvel until the last 7 minutes, and then we watch the game.
Sounds like a really, really good tradition. So in the game, guys, the game has been unpaused. Looks like we'll be making our way back in quite shortly. The players are good to go. Looks like everyone has remained connected to the game, so we have none of that going on. Back underway here, TeamQ versus TSM. Right side, Game Hunter holding down his lane, but NQ putting up the pressure. TeamQ is slightly in the lead for experience. TSM is ever so slightly in the lead for gold. This game is still up for grabs right now. Continuing on, whoever gets the first big engagement and then an objective will be in the lead mid lane. Proxy coming around, just going to walk right by the backside. Q was like, what? Oh, was that a cat? And runs into the jungle chasing it down.
Tricky. She misses the 9-tail. Is going to take the Torrent. He'll gain some passive protections for that one. He's going to take the Thunderstrike as well. It looks like Game Hunter is, in fact, leveling the Thunderstrike for the clear potential. So we're going to see her be able to get out of that one, though she does take some damage. Overall, not really much gained for either team. She was looking for a steal, but neither buff was able to be pressured with how many rotations we saw coming out from TSM.
He was going to do the blue buff, but you see a rotation from NQ as well as Proxy. There goes the activation. Cavalry charge, roll out, coming through, gets avoided. She jumps over the boulder and makes her way out there. Great grab by Proxy. Mid lane, Mir is hanging out as well to make his way out there. Back to the blue buff. Guan Yu and Chalk here back to work as usual. Right side being pushed up by NQs and makes his way into the jungle as well. So, a lot of hurry up and wait here from both teams, and they're being as cautious as they can be, but they don't want to miss on any opportunities. You see they're trying to start fights, but they get out early if it doesn't look great.
I just hate fighting Zeus so much. He is just so obtrusive in team fights. He puts down the lightning storm, and you can't take it. Even if you're a tank, you can't stand in that thing. You have to walk out of it. You have to walk out pretty much to the closest viable place. What a wall coming out right there. A little bit too far to be able to block him out completely, but they do get deterred. The mid camp, however, is already down. Neither of them stolen. She's going to jump back and find herself directly in favor of a Zeus. Looking to get some shots off. Trix Tank not quite going to land the rollout. It's going to take a flame wave for his troubles there left side. More boxing coming out from Youngbei and Real ZX. We've seen this matchup before. Real actually getting some damage done, forcing the Serenade out. Right side, NQ again with Game Hunter. Neither of them really willing to commit to a fight. Not going to be worth it on either side. So all lanes, it looks like again we see washes.
Youngbei has finally swapped his Hunter build and gone for the Aussie Rush after Heartseeker to keep himself alive. Previously, we'd see him actually go for a Rage after the Heartseeker, but he's really seeing the difference it makes with a lifesteal. Oh my god, Youngbei with eyes behind his head pops the ultimate as the flanking Amir attempts to freeze him. What a cool cat. I swear, when you make plays like that, you have to be wearing sunglasses because he wasn't even turning around, just pops his ultimate. It's like, oh, you're trying to freeze me? Nah, I had to go home anyway.
Oh, man. That he is so close. I couldn't even believe that he got out of that one. This is the veteran play from Youngbei. We have seen him on the top of the meta since the inception of Smite. He has been on multiple teams since the very beginning, always headlining some of the best talent that EU has had to offer. And now we're seeing, again, their current seeded second going into this. If they win this, they're guaranteed first seed. And, he is one of the strongest players, in the European scene. And right there, you can see why. I mean, there was no reason for him to be able to dodge that as quick as he did.
Yeah, I mean, the reaction levels are so high here. Real's actually going to disconnect from this match. We see another pause coming out from TeamQ. Hopefully he's able to make it back into this one. We do have Aussie 2 completed here. A little bit trailing behind Youngbei right now, so in a tough spot overall, but really needs to make sure that he is all set to go when the mid fights do start up. We've got Agni. Captain Twig actually goes for the Bancroft start, goes right into Shoes of Focus, Voidstone 2. So, they're building up their items. They're looking for this big mid engagement. I mean, a slight lead for TSM right now, 700 gold and 500 experience. I mean, they are doing so well to hunt down the early game, but they just can't find a great foundation to stand on considering the fact that both teams are really fighting for this.
Right now, 12:36. We're in the middle of a pause again. It looks like Real ZX is possibly just restarting his client. We're going to wait for him to get back in here. They're going to need that on her to stop Youngbei from pushing down every possible tower. Youngbei, of course, is primed right now. Take a look at the left lane here. We have a huge amount of creeps going forward and not many creeps standing in the way. Youngbei is going to look to put down some serious damage. And since teleport to towers has kind of fallen out of favor, there's no one really close enough to try to get in there. Of course, Ymir is rotating over, but Ymir doesn't have blink. He doesn't have sprint. He doesn't have a way to really get there as fast as possible. And before he can even get there, there is an Egyptian god of earth, I'm talking about Geb, standing in his way. So he's going to have to be careful. If he puts himself too far out of position to try to save a tower, it could wind up with him being dead.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you're kind of just waiting to see what happens with the overall matchup, with the positioning, with, how quickly things can end, the damage output that can follow up. And, I mean, it's hard to call this out early on because we saw TeamQ in the last matchup were able to just hold on to a lead in the beginning, and then all of a sudden TSM does what TSM does. They came right into the mid-game, conquered the team fights, got the objectives they needed. The gold was in their favor. In fact, they were 5,000 gold up when the mid-game hit, and then you turn around and you're thinking, okay, TSM has this, not a big deal. TeamQ gets a wonderful, wonderful teamfight engagement. They get a fire giant. They turn it around in their favor specifically, and now we're just kind of waiting to see if they can do it again. Now, keep in mind, the fact that TeamQ won Game 1 means a lot to them. Absolutely phenomenal because they're not under pressure. They're not feeling the sweat right now. So if they lose this match, Okay, we learned a little bit more about how TSM goes into Game 2 and Game 3, how their strategies adjust, what they have hidden up their sleeve. I mean, we haven't seen Chalk solo before for TSM, so that's very, very different. So that's really what you want to look at is how their strategy changes as they go deeper into the best of 3. And TeamQ is going to learn that regardless of what happens here, they still have a backup game to lean on.
So Ymir and Gab, two very tanky, both have kind of similar ults in terms of space control. I think ultimately we would have a little bit more ultimate danger coming out from Ymir, but Trixtanks is so intrusive. Same thing, especially when you consider coupling it with something like Lightning Storm, being able to just shut down an entire area and then bring it right back up with the Lightning Storm. That's such a big deal. So we're still on the pause, guys. We're just trying to bully our way through it. Young Bay still on the left side, prep to try to push down that tower. Right side, looks like Game Hunter is returning and trying to stop NQ from doing the same thing. Mid lane still being protected by Lobster, and it seems that we have rotations on all ends coming out for this mid camp on the left side. You see also on the right side, ProxQQ right near the right mid camp. So there's a lot of action going on, but we're still waiting for Real. Actually, Real has gotten back into the game. They're probably just waiting for the call here. Do you see these footsteps, Driver?
From
Go into the base where Anhur is, and there's like weird, creepy footsteps.
that could be Ymir.
No,
He leaves those.
no, I don't care.
You don't care?
No.
You like them, but you don't know where they're from?
No, well, it's weird because Ymir is in mid right now. How?
Yes,
how
and
did
this
they
happens. It actually saves some of the footsteps randomly on the map, and when it pauses out,
You're
it
ruining
shows
the
them.
ghost hunt. Forget it. The game's starting.
There's a goat, and you gotta take him down. It's gonna be really cool. And here comes Pony the mid lane as Kibo, Fred, and Trixtank group up, trying to force him off the mid camps. Mid camps look like they're gonna be respawning pretty soon here. Zeus just staring at Captain Twig, saying hello, seeing
This
how
is
you
what we
doing.
talked about. Poeng needs to get through Trixtank to try to get to the tower, and he can't. And then Real ZX is here, but the damage has been done. Look at the tower. Serenade's going to go through. Few shots. Poeng will probably deter them and get them back here, but Real ZX a level behind has to defend this Phoenix now. And Slow going to be coming out over towards the left side. Mid-camp, Lobster throwing down the Lightning Storm, not getting a lot of damage. Cubo Fred's in there doing as much as possible, but check it out. They're going to turn. Proxy's going to go down. I don't think Twig should try to chase this one. Nice dodge coming out from Lobster's going to be able to get out of that one and turn his sights on a Cubo Fred. Nice preemptive beats there. Captain Twig is gone.
Try to use the E, just actually got the detonate, but of course Kibo is just hanging out. Honestly, could have saved that activation. That's going to be a long cooldown, 180 seconds on that tier 1 E. Just avoided the detonate and had a chance, but Kibo was lying in wait, and there comes right into a goal theory. Gab already taking this up with that stone shield. There's some stacks. Look at the number ticks over the goal theory. It's huge. Double Hand of the God activation. Kibo Fred tried to just get it over that threshold as quickly as possible, and of course Trixtank able to finish it off completely with that tier 3 Hand of the God. So right now, I mean, NQ's right side trying to push his tower down. Chalk should be able to get there in time considering all the minions are down. Indeed, he will. Left tower is weak for TeamQ. Anhur trying to defend this out the best he possibly can. But at this point, TSM is starting to take a significant lead. 3,000 gold and 3,500 experience in the lead right now. And it doesn't seem like TeamQ is getting any room to do anything. TSM is in control of every aspect of the match. Now, do keep in mind, though, TeamQ pulled out a victory last game when they were 5,000 gold behind. So how much of a lead for TSM is enough to slow down the progression and decision-making of TeamQ?
Well, I'm sorry. I'm so interested because I just saw Ymir, one of the tankiest characters in the game, just take 60% of his health in an instant from Zeus. You see that?
Yeah, but he's ice and it's lightning.
Is that counter? I don't like Pokemon.
Well, it'll melt. And he was already standing next to, so what happened is he's already standing next to Captain
lightning
Twig,
beats water.
and it melted him. But he's close enough to the fire to start melting, and then the lightning zapped him, and it just shocked across his body. I just did kept going down here.
Oh! Look at that wall
there from Poeng. Trixtank just wants to play Mario Kart, but Poeng says no, smacking him out of frustration. Trixtank is so upset with how things are there. Responds with a shockwave to the ward. Ward for ward there as Trixtank comes out ahead on the Vision Ward. Right side, Chalk comes around, gets the mid-camps. Rain Dance on the ground, knocked up by Tier. Poeng is going to be rotating over to the left side. Will be able to make it in time, but here comes Zeus on top of the ultimate. Game Hunter forced away. 2 charges, 3 charges, detonates in the middle of the Fearless. Isn't enough. Torrent. There goes the Storm Call. Activation already been used there. Looking for initiative. The Rain Dance slows him down. They give up as Bastet comes in. but he ends up going down to the detonate. Ogni goes down as well. Proxy by himself. Do they dive? No, they disengage. Too many cats. Not enough time.
Oh man, TSM just has complete control. And you know, it's funny because in the past couple weeks, we've seen, oh, he walled him again. Same thing. So good. But we've seen Zeus not do so well. And today, it's kind of showing everyone that, yes, he is still that same character that you never, ever, 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 ever want to fight. Now, going in there, he activates beats to try to take the tower. On the left side, Youngbei does get the shield as well. He's taking a lot of damage, and the tower is hanging on by a thread. There's no way he's going to be able to defend that for much longer. RealsEX might as well just let this one go, recoup it, you know, just try to cut his losses on this one. They're just going to dive into the tower. 3 shots, 4, 5 is going to clean it up. A nice use of audacity there. That passive coming out from Youngbei to ensure that he had extra attack speed just to burn it down. Overall, right now, TSM has a 7,000 gold lead.
It's getting bigger by the moment, and you know, TeamQ can't seem to find a spot that's weak here. I mean, you see Youngbei farming out of control, 9,300 gold total. Game Hunter in the same spot, goes for Mystical Mark, has the Ninja Tabi CDR, now picking up the Witch Stone to counter out, you know, attack speed coming out from the Honor as well as the Bastet. And I think that everything about how TSM is built right now is incredibly powerful. You know, TeamQ able to pick up Emir, and I think Emir is a fantastic counter to the Geb, as we've seen time and time again, but they just need to find some objectives here. It's a 3-tower advantage for TSM. TeamQ has barely dented the mid tower, scratched the left tower, and actually got a dent in the right tower, but they just don't have the time or the place to be able to push in and do it safely, because the initiation coming out is going to be too strong in response. Mid lane, there goes the initiation in the mid lane here. Game Hunter pops with Rain Dance, slowing down. The cats have been activated on Chalk, doesn't really do a whole lot. Double Zeus hit there, detonate on top. Bowen goes down, Lobster chasing down Tier here. NQ jumps away with the ult, and the sprint's going to follow up here with Youngbei. Throws the Soviet over the wall, but the blink will be enough to get him out of dodge. Here comes the rollout. The distance able to clear. There's the horse as well. The movement speed is insane. Cancels it immediately into the stun. NQ forced away, gets the heal with the guard stance cleave, but here comes the Thunder Strike, and it's too much for NQ to deal with. They're going to take it out here in the left side. Tower under pressure. Ogni going to dash away. Apollo's going to find him on the right side. There's this Serenade, buying time for Zeus. 1 crit, 2 crit, 3 charge, 1 more shot. So Beautiful needs a single, hit the minions. That's actually the dash in should be enough. Take down damage from the tower. Hit by a meteor, but that will be the end. Ogni goes down. Bastet goes down. Tier goes down. The left side tower will go down. The mid tower will go down. TSM got the biggest swing I've ever seen all over the map.
Right, and now they have a chance to go for the Fire Giant immediately. They could go for the Fire Giant, or they could push into the Phoenix. There's only 2 people alive right now. NQ is just about to come up, and he doesn't even have his ultimate. They have no defensive chance at this point. RealsEX low on mana might have some potential when the mid-Phoenix has been destroyed. We're only 19 minutes into the game.
I don't understand how quick this changed, and I don't think TeamQ did either. And maybe, you know, it's complacency. Maybe it's not being prepared. And I feel like we're seeing less life out of TeamQ than we did in the last match. And, you know, TSM is just running the show right now. 11 kills, 2 kills across the way from TeamQ, but 12,000 gold in the lead. The Phoenix is down. Gold Fury is up. Fire Giant's available. They have the lead in every single way, and TeamQ needs to find something that they can, you know, put on their side.
Right now, I think the only real thing they can try to get is the Fire Giant. They have to fight for it. Doing it themselves at this point is certain death. Now, you see them rotating over. It looks like they're going to have a free Gold Fury, but TSM knows it, and they could not care less. Fire Giant's going to go down. No one's rotating over. This is not looking good for TeamQ.
You know, this call is so wonderful. TSM says, hey, you can have the Gold Fury. We'll take the Fire Giant. There goes the Hand of the Gods. They're going to secure it up. All 5 members have the Fire Giant buff. No towers down. All the towers are down for TeamQ. None of them are down for TSM. This really spells out the situation that TeamQ is in right now. Geb's going to find Tier on the right side here. NQ forced to get away. Trickstank pops up the rollout and tries to go for something. Just going to punt him away. Yep, there's the punt. There's the shockwave. Thunderstrike on the ground. NQ still in tower range. Right side tower is being pressured up here. This is going to be the last tower here from TeamQ. And then no towers will remain. Total here, of course, earlier. There was 1 tower didn't remain. That's going to be the last one. So no towers left now for TeamQ. TSM has all their towers up, and this is going to be a big push for TSM. The rollout comes out. How do you defend against this if you're TeamQ?
I don't know. Well, NQ's going to dive in there and try for it. Lightning Storm's going to be active. Not going to do too much damage here, but Proxy's already gone. He's out of there. Game Hunter in the back. Look at the damage. Stormcall's gonna silence out 2E's and begins his chase as well. He teleports back to the mid. They're looking for a chance just to burn this Phoenix down. But there goes the Cataclysm. Captain Twig's gonna be forced out. Boeing's gonna be forced out. TeamQ is gonna be forced out. Second Phoenix goes down.
2 Phoenixes down, left one last standing. Trickstick rolls on over, Impaled not going to land there. This Phoenix is dead to right, even if they initiate. There's a double frost spread. Phoenix still being pressured out. Poeng with a huge zone with his ultimate gets him off the Phoenix for the time being. Burst damage coming out here. Can they respond? NQ, there's the chain lightning doing so much damage. No triple charge deadening on anyone though, but Trick's tank is in the lead. Forcing this, are they going to try to end this right here, right now? If TeamQ gets too aggressive, they're going into the Titan of Chaos, is taking damage. NQ force away, detonate comes from above, and Tyr has been removed from this fight. Trickstick under pressure, tanking the Titan as long as he can. The damage output is enough. If they're going to focus one or the other, they need to do it. The Titan does go down, crumpling up into the air. The life has been removed from the inside of the Titan of Chaos, and order reigns supreme. TSM takes a 21-minute victory after that 1-hour match we just watched. TeamQ, they're tied up 1-1.
And that is such an incredible turnaround. That was the exact level of domination that we saw in the previous game. Actually, that's not true. TSM dominated this game a little bit harder considering it didn't last 59,000 minutes. They were able to end that inside of 25. Match length, of course, a little bit longer due to pauses, but regardless, look at the damage. Lobster, 18k, so now you can't give him Agni, you can't give him Zeus, you can't give him Alquang. He's going to get one of them.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing, is the God pool makes such a big difference there. So looks like we're going to be seeing that here. And the change in the picking is really important to look at. TSM picks up Chalk. We haven't seen Chalk before for TSM in the solo lane especially, so that's really important to look at. Game Hunter picking up Chalk there. In fact, he has not tried that character before and just now starting to play Vomana. So, Game Hunter, opening his God pool even more. And it seems to be that Apollo much more successful than on her here in the matches we watched today. I mean, last game, Realsy got Apollo incredibly dominant. This game, Youngbag got Apollo incredibly dominant. Game Hunter 2-0-7.